Hey YouTube family, what's up? I hope everyone is staying inside and being safe and self-isolating from the crowd of people. I know I haven't uploaded in a while. I've just been busy taking care of my family, trying to get in some work as well. I've been working out at home. Um, so without even saying much right now, let's get into it. I know that basically everybody's like going through some hardships right now. I really and truly hope everyone is being safe. Um, I wanted to talk about the. I wanted to continue on the topic of suicide. We're gonna talk about like the end of the road. This is gonna be called end of the road and recovery. Now, end of the road was very rough and eye opening for me. And this was when my father had actually gotten involved. Because my mother, she had tried to hide it from my father, that I was, going through some stuff. And, my father would sometimes ask her what was going on with me. And she was like, he's just having a rough time and stuff like that. But, at that point in time, I was also on medication. After the third attempt and stuff, I was on medication because the third attempt was the most serious attempt on my life. And that caused everybody in my family, both local and abroad, to take notice of what was going on with my life. My relatives who were here in the US were praying for me so hard ever since they heard that I wanted to take my life. And everybody took notice, but that wasn't the idea though. I didn't want anybody involved because my whole thing was that I just wanted to be done with life. I was done with life and I wanted to be done with life. And so, so basically, we're at the end of the road. And the end of the road was basically where I was mentally and physically. I had lost a lot of weight. I had to quit my job not because I wasn't efficient at my job. I was still very efficient at my job, but it was just like I wasn't even there. And people at my job like started to notice that there was something different about me, in terms of this suicide stuff. So, what happened is that basically now, I I started to just like, start to lose a lot of interest in a lot of things. And even though I wasn't able to commit suicide, inside I felt like I was dead. I didn't feel alive. I didn't feel like I was a part of this world. I didn't feel like I was actually here. And it was reflected in how my daily life was, going on from then on. I basically woke up very drab. I went to bed drab. But one of the main things I want to even talk about is the experience at the rock bottom level. And I think talking about the rock bottom level will give you guys an insight of what it basically is like when people are experiencing the rock bottom level. And the rock bottom level was basically it was a point where it was kind of like limbo. It just felt like you were falling, but there was no bottom. So you were just constantly falling. And that's how I felt, in terms of this, that I was constantly just dropping. There was no end to the emotions that I was facing and things like that. And like I said before I get into recovery, this was the worst part of my life that I have to give God thanks for, that God had actually brought me out of this situation. Because even though I wasn't dead physically, I felt like spiritually and mentally I was dead, and that I wasn't going to come back from that. Now, my father got involved, and I would basically, I started to hang around with my father, and I didn't realize, like, until I came out of it, I didn't realize how important it was that my father really, took charge and took matters into his own hands in terms of like building me back up. And this is what I gotta say again. I mean, I've said this many times in videos. Fathers are very, very important. Even if a guy is a simp, fathers still have principles that they teach to children. You know what I mean? Even if a father is a simp, that's why women still want simps. And I'm going to do a video about that women still want simps. Don't matter if a guy is a simp. That guy still have principles that he would pass on to children. In any case, my father got involved, and now I started to work down by the garage with my father because he owns his own garage and stuff. So I was, again, I grew up fixing cars, so I was fixing cars again with my father, and fixing cars and stuff. And, sometimes there was one time where my father basically, he took me out for a drink, and this was like really the first one-on-one as a man, as a 20-year-old man, I had with my father, where he was basically teaching me some stuff about women. And it wasn't even just about teaching me stuff about women, but I felt my father's love. I felt my father's alertness and awareness that he himself loved me enough that he didn't want me to die. Now, something that people keep trying to force men to do is to love in the way that women love. Men don't love the same way that women love. Men love a different way. Men don't always love with their words. They love with their actions. And that's how we were created. We were created to love with our actions, not with our words. So when women are there constantly, pushing men in society to behave like women, that men should love like women, and that is why society is the way that it is, because you have a gender that was created by God to act a certain way, and they're trying to act another way, and it's just not working out for them, and they're so conflicted about who they are that they actually think that they are trapped in the wrong body, because people keep telling them that they should be behaving a certain way. Anyway, my father, hanging out with my father was kind of like the best thing ever for me, because it did more for me than hanging out with my mother and my aunts. Like I said before, God bless my aunts, man. They really have a very special place in my heart. But my father, even though we never got along while I was young, and even after the situation, we didn't really get along right away. My father was there for me when he needed to be there for me. My father stepped up. My father pulled up his pants and he stepped up. Usually he was a hard ass on me, and he basically, sometimes I felt like my father just didn't love me and stuff, and I think that was part of the reasons why I had so many issues in self-love, because honestly, really and truly, if it wasn't for also the Bible teaching me certain love for self, I think I really would have gone again and tried to commit suicide. So hanging around my father taught me so many things about women, and my father, in a manly way, my father rebuilt me. And what I say about rebuilt me, like how he rebuilt me, it was just like, when you go through training and stuff, and you have people teaching you, and like you watch those movies, like they have the montage music playing, and you see the guy going through training with his master, and the master beating him with a stick and stuff like that, and teaching him like certain little words, and Yo, you must be quick like butterfly and strong like rock. Things like that. And my father was kind of like that, not in the sense of saying those things, but the things that he said to me in terms of like how you need to structure your life as a man, how you need to behave as a man. When you come across a woman, this is how you need to behave towards them and stuff like that. And because of that, because of my father teaching me that once, I have not left those principles alone. And I think that is what has helped me after that with my dating life and stuff like that. And because I got hurt by a woman, and it kind of built the bridge to my mentality where it says, don't F around with these women. Like, let them, like kick them to the curb and stuff like that, because, regardless of whatever it is. Anyway, there's this one time, and there's this one thing my father did that really woke me up out of the depressional state. And ever since that started my recovery back to becoming happy with life again, wanting to live, wanting to experience life, wanting to grow, wanting to go back and visit my dreams and stuff like that. And my father, one night, I don't know why, but I slipped back into being sad again, and my father went off on me. And I mean, he went off on me. But when he went off on me, I didn't just like take it to heart. When I was done crying, I actually listened to what my father said. I slept on it, meaning that as I was laying in my bed, I was thinking about what my father said. And it turned out my father was right. What did my father say? And I think I've said it in many videos before. My father, like, he saw me crying and he said, look at you. You're barely what you used to be. You barely look like what you used to be. You lost a lot of weight. And also what was happening to me is that when I went to use the bathroom, like when I went to take a poop, my feces would cut my sphincter in my butt. So I would be pooping out blood too as well. So that's how bad it got. It got so bad, and I got so skinny that I was basically cutting my butt with my stool. That's how bad it was. So anyway, my father was like, what the hell are you crying for? You think she's out there crying? You think she gives a shit about what you're experiencing right now? Look at you. You're in here dying. You're literally, slowly but surely dying. And that bitch is on another dick right now. And he was like, and I can guarantee you that. The next day, I went to go see a doctor about the whole stool situation. Like I was saying now, like my stool was cutting my butt and I was pooping out blood, and the doctor was basically saying that you have to start eating or you're going to die. And I came out of the doctor's office, and I started to think really hard about what I was going through. And I said that it's not worth it, and she's not worth it. And I went back to the mentality of when I was 17, the mentality that I had, that I was telling you people I had, whereas, if somebody drinks water or breathes air, or, they have to poop or pee in a toilet, they're not any more special than me. And I went back to that mentality there and then after the doctor. And then it resonated with me too, what my father said in terms of like, she don't give a shit about you. She's there living the best of her life right now. And even if you die, she might cry about it, but she's going to move on with her life. And she won't care about you anymore. You'll be like a fleeting memory 2 years from then. Even if she remembers you, she won't care. She'll probably still do what she did just to see if she can really get someone else to kill themselves. And that really resonated with me after the doctor. So after the doctor, I basically, my sister was with me, and I looked at my sister and I said, I'm hungry and I want the biggest hamburger to eat right now. And my sister was very, very happy to hear me say that I was hungry. And that started to the road to recovery. And the next video will I mean, why not finish it in this video? And so the road to recovery started with me apologizing to God about what I did and my dependence upon the word of God, my dependence upon every single word in that Bible and upon God himself. And this is not for people who don't believe in God, because I believe in God, and I have to honestly tell you that I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for God. So, basically, by the way, I'm going to tell you guys another story too, in a second. So anyway, the road to recovery is that the things I did to recover was that I kept myself busy, in terms of like, I didn't give myself any free time. And even though I was still depressed, I didn't allow it to overtake me anymore. When I realized that my mind was getting to the mindset of being depressed, I quickly found something physical to do that needed my mind to think about doing it, like building something. And me working at the garage with my father was good too, because when you're working at a garage, there's very little time for you to and think about committing suicide. And I basically was always under a car pulling off an alternator or a starter, or fixing something, or taking off brakes, or doing this or doing that. Do you understand what I'm saying? And then what I did when I came home at night was read the Bible and went straight to bed, because I didn't want to give myself the opportunity to think about being depressed and think about killing myself. And that and therapy, like I said before, therapy, having somebody to talk to who can advise you on how you can or should go about things. Therapy was really, really good. As I said before, I don't knock therapy if it's a good therapist. I think it really helped, along with everything that God had placed in my life, like family, friends, etc., etc. Anyway, people, that's my video on suicide. Like I said before, suicide is a very serious thing. And I pray and hope for those who, are seeking to commit suicide, that you watch my video, or that if you feel like you want to reach out to me and talk about it, you can message me and I'll send you my email, and I'll get your number and we can talk about it from there. But I really want to say, don't go down that path. From somebody who's been down that path, don't go down that path. It's not worth it. You know what I mean? You'll suffer more that way, especially if you're still alive. And as according to the Bible, suicide is a sin and you'll go to hell for it. So, just saying. But stay blessed, people, during this season. I hope everyone is really staying safe and taking care of themselves. You can say that my body has really started, start working out and stuff. So take care, people. Laters.